What happens when a woman trapped in routine dares to feel alive again? For decades, Evelyn played the role of the perfect wife, devoted, loyal, unseen. But when a spark she never expected ignites between her and someone forbidden, she faces a choice that could change everything. Desire, temptation, and the weight of consequences collide in a story of passion and betrayal. How far will she go to reclaim the fire she lost, and at what cost? Stay tuned, because this is a story you won't forget. Welcome to Silent Confessions, the place where secrets unfold and passions ignite in the most unexpected ways. Today's story is one of longing, loneliness, and a temptation too strong to resist. A woman trapped in a lifeless marriage, a young man burning with forbidden desire, and a connection so intense it could either heal her or destroy everything she's ever known. But how far is too far when your heart races and your body craves what it shouldn't? Stick around, because this is a story you won't forget. I'm Evelyn, 55 years old, and for decades I lived what most would call a perfect life. Married to Richard for over 30 years, we built a home, a family, a routine, but somewhere along the way the fire between us died. The tender touches, the playful whispers, the lingering glances, they all faded, leaving me cold and unseen. The passion that once ignited our nights had fizzled out into nothing more than shared obligations. I tried to remind myself that love isn't always fireworks, that companionship and stability should be enough. But deep inside I longed for something more. I became a ghost in my own house, my existence acknowledged only by the echo of my own footsteps. The days stretched into years, and soon I found myself staring into the mirror, wondering where the woman I used to be had gone. Then Lucas walked in. Lucas, my son's best friend, was 23 years old, young, strong, and full of life. The kind of energy that made a woman remember she was still a woman. He had that effortless confidence, the kind that made you wonder if he knew exactly how tempting he was. His laughter was infectious, his presence magnetic, and every time he moved, it was as if the air shifted around him. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Just a harmless admiration of youth, the way an aging flower might turn toward the sun, yearning for just a bit of its warmth. But as days passed, I found myself noticing every little thing about him. The way his eyes lingered a second too long, the way his voice dipped when he spoke to me, the way he smiled when he caught me looking. It wasn't just my imagination. Lucas didn't just see me as Ethan's mom. He saw me. And that realization sent a shiver down my spine, one of fear, excitement, and a longing I could no longer suppress. One weekend, when Richard and Ethan left town, Lucas stayed back, offering to help me around the house. That evening, as we sat in the dim glow of my kitchen, drinking coffee, something shifted. His eyes lingered a second too long. His voice dropped an octave, smooth as silk, pulling me in like gravity. We talked, really talked. I told him everything, the loneliness, the aching emptiness, the way I felt invisible in my own marriage. He listened, his expression darkening, his fingers tightening around his mug. "Evelyn," he murmured, his voice laced with something I hadn't heard in years. "Desire. You deserve to feel wanted." I swallowed hard, heat rising in my cheeks. His words wrapped around me like a warm embrace, something I hadn't felt in so long. The air between us grew thick, charged with something unspoken yet undeniable. His gaze roamed over my face, lingering at my lips before flickering back to my eyes. My heart pounded in my chest, a foreign but exhilarating sensation surging through me. I felt alive again. That night, I lay in my bed, restless. My body hummed with a longing I had buried for too long. And when I closed my eyes, it wasn't Richard's face I saw. It was his. The way his fingers brushed against mine, the way his voice sent shivers down my spine. I tossed and turned, my skin flushed, my breath uneven. The more I had to push him from my thoughts, the deeper he settled into them. I imagined his lips grazing my neck, his hands trailing down my arms, and my body ached in ways I thought it had forgotten. I bit my lip, pressing my thighs together, frustration mounting as desire took hold. I had spent years pushing these feelings aside, but now they clawed their way back, demanding attention. Sleep refused to come, the night stretching endlessly as I let my fantasies take over. I turned onto my side, gripping the sheets, whispering his name into the darkness, lost in a storm of emotions I could no longer ignore. The next morning, I found Lucas in the kitchen, shirtless, his toned body glowing in the soft morning light. His chiseled chest rose and fell rhythmically, his muscles flexing subtly as he moved. "Morning, beautiful," he said, flashing me a wicked grin. My heart skipped. That boy knew exactly what he was doing. He stayed longer than he needed, lingering close, brushing against me as he reached for his coffee, his fingers grazing mine as he handed me a cup. Every touch was electric, every glance a whispered invitation. The tension simmered between us, crackling like a live wire. That day, we danced around each other, our words filled with double meanings, our gestures growing bolder. My body reacted instinctively, craving more of the attention I had long been deprived of. His presence was intoxicating, his scent lingering in the air, drawing me closer with every breath. And then one afternoon, in the quiet solitude of my backyard, he shattered the last of my resistance. "You know I'm crazy about you, don't you?" His voice was low, husky, filled with an intensity that sent a delicious shiver up my spine. My breath caught, my pulse hammered in my ears. I should have stopped him. I should have walked away. But I couldn't. His fingertips traced along my wrist, sending fire through my veins. My lips parted, but no words came. When he leaned in, his breath warm against my lips, I let go, surrendering to the storm we had both been resisting for far too long. That first kiss was fire and sin, a collision of need and hunger. His hands explored, mapping the curves time had etched into my body, worshipping them like a man starved. He groaned against my lips, pressing me firmly against him, his heat branding me in ways I had long forgotten. My fingers threaded through his hair, pulling him deeper, drowning in the intensity of it all. Every stolen moment after that was a secret carved into the night. Fevered whispers, tangled sheets, the soft gasp of pleasure as his lips traced forbidden paths. Every touch left me trembling, my body arching in desperate surrender, aching for more of the forbidden ecstasy only he could provide. This wasn't just lust, it was something deeper, more dangerous, and I had no intention of stopping. But passion has a price, and secrets don't stay buried forever. Richard started to suspect. The way I smiled more, the way I lingered in the mirror a little longer, the way my body seemed to radiate a new energy that hadn't been there in years. And worst of all, Ethan noticed Lucas acting different, more protective, more possessive. His eyes would dart toward me when Ethan wasn't looking, his fingers barely grazing mine when no one was watching. My heart pounded every time my phone buzzed, every time Lucas sent me a knowing glance across the room. The tension was building, and I knew it was only a matter of time before the cracks in our secrecy widened. One evening, he took me for a drive, winding through the darkened roads, music humming in the background. The air between us was thick, charged, every unspoken word hanging there, waiting to be acknowledged. He pulled over, turning to me with that devilish smirk. "Let's just stay here for a while," he whispered, his fingers tracing my jaw. The sensation sent shivers through me, my skin burning under his touch. I inhaled sharply, my body already responding to him. And in that stolen moment, in the quiet hum of the night, I felt more alive than I had in years. The world outside ceased to exist. It was just him and me, lost in a dangerous, intoxicating bubble that I never wanted to pop. But guilt is a cruel mistress. As much as I craved Lucas, as much as he made me feel worshipped, I knew we were walking a dangerous line. The lines between right and wrong blurred each time he touched me, each time his lips found my skin. I tried to pull away, to remind myself of the life I had built with Richard, but the moment Lucas whispered my name, all reason dissolved. And so we continued. Stolen nights, heated encounters, whispers in the dark that made me forget I had a husband waiting at home. My body betrayed me, responding to his touch with a hunger that had long been buried. We met in secret, our rendezvous growing riskier, the danger adding fuel to the fire already burning between us. A touch in the hallway when no one was watching, a lingering stare across the room that spoke volumes, the tension crackling between us like an electric current. My world had become a whirlwind of desire, guilt, and the undeniable addiction to the way he made me feel. Love, lust, betrayal. Where does one end and the other begin? I don't know where this road will take me, but one thing is certain. Lucas awoke something inside me that I never want to lose again. even if it means risking everything, I can't let go. The question is, how long can we keep the fire burning before it consumes us completely? What would you do if passion came knocking when you least expected it? If a fire reignited in your soul, would you embrace it or run? Would you surrender to the temptation or fight against the flames of desire? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you crave more stories of forbidden love and untold secrets, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Until next time, hold on to your desires and keep your secrets close.